this ceremony is all about how to receive transcendental knowledge, how to receive a transcendental lifestyle, and how to receive the transcendental mantra. Transcendental meaning, what is above time and space, what is above material nature. The Bhakti Yoga science is about how to have knowledge and a lifestyle that is beyond material nature. Why would we want to be beyond material nature? Because as spirit soul, we don't belong to material nature. Yet somehow or other we have misidentified with the material energy, and we have material goals, and in this way we brought about so much ignorance and suffering upon us for countless lifetimes. This initiation ceremony is the official beginning of spiritual life. Everything has to have a beginning, and as Tarkanath Prabhu was explaining, this is the formalization of the beginning. Formalities are important in that they certify commitment and dedication. A formality adds seriousness to a relationship. That's why some people still get married these days. Because it's accepted. The marriage formality is accepted as a way to declare that the pact is substantial and it's meant to be durable. The future may bring ups and downs, but nevertheless, that pact is there. Similarly with initiation, because those taking initiation have conditioned mind and conditioned senses, naturally there'll be fluctuations and wavering in their application of the bhakti knowledge. Fluctuation and wavering in terms of their mind. But that fluctuation and wavering, which is natural for the material mind, does not have to result in their practice fluctuating. I want to make that point clear. Just like in the traditional sense of marriage, the husband and wife may have their bad days, and in their mind they may be thinking, oh, I never want to see you again. But by the end of the day or a few days later, it's all forgotten. In other words, the fluctuation and wavering of their mind does not affect their marriage vows. Well, similarly, until we become very advanced, the material mind will go this way and that way. It's the nature of the material mind. But if we hold tight to our initiation vows, we can become strong and remain strong, regardless of the external circumstances. The initiation vows give you a sense of strength and a pillar to hold on to. Even though in your mind you may waver, you then think of your vows and take shelter of them. You remember your promise. We often point out that the standard of promises and honesty these days is very lamentable. Someone will say, well, didn't you promise me such and such last year? And the typical response will be, well, that was last year. Things are different now. When I made the promise, I meant it. But now it's a different situation, and so it's fine for me to break my promise. But initiation, the vows we take are not like that. Actually, we often point out that the Vedic standard of promising is such that even if the promise turns out not to be in your favor, you still keep it. Now that's hard to understand these days, isn't it? If the promise turns out not to be in your favor, then you have every right to break the promise. Because after all, the purpose of a promise is to make sure things go your way, in your favor. This makes sense, right, according to today's standard. So why should you hold to a promise that later you think is not working out for you? The result of that kind of so-called honor is that as soon as there's some inconvenience felt in relationships, people break them. They have no sense of determination to pass through the choppy seas until they get to the peaceful waters, the still waters. They don't have that kind of determination. Initiation vows are spiritual vows, and they give us such great strength. They can bring us through the turbulence of the mind. They can bring us through the agitations brought about by the surrounding environment. And in this way, we actually grow. In this way, we actually can spiritually progress. And not have our whole life dictated by ever-changing circumstances, ever-changing mentalities. You can look at this initiation ceremony as simply a ritual, or you can try to see the depths of it. And the depths of the initiation ceremony are not visible or understandable by ordinary senses. In this ceremony is the formal hookup with Divya Gyan, divine or transcendental knowledge. The initiation ceremony is actually plugging you in to the foremost technological apparatus. What is that? Foremost technological apparatus is not a smartphone. It is the parampara, that chain of masters and disciples originating with Lord Krishna. And through that parampara, you can actually understand. Just like with your eyeglasses, you can actually see. Similarly, by connecting to the parampara, you actually receive the ability to understand transcendental knowledge. This may seem baffling, how it could be so. What does Krishna explain in Bhagavad Gita? Evam parampara praptam imam rajasayo vidu. That timeless statement by Lord Krishna gives you insight into how the spiritual technology works. Krishna himself says that the knowledge he's speaking in Bhagavad Gita comes through the chain of teachers and students, and this is how it's understood. Because the knowledge is being handed down through a proper lineage of teachers and students, that knowledge can actually be more understood by you. Not only is the knowledge more understood by you, but also the Hare Krishna mantra, which you are formally receiving at the time of initiation, becomes more potent. So how is that? You might say, isn't the Hare Krishna mantra powerful in of itself? Isn't the Hare Krishna mantra what it is? It is the presence of Krishna. So how can the mantra become more powerful simply because of an initiation ceremony. What we are doing are not ordinary activities. We're not doing blind, empty rituals. Many people think of spiritual rituals in that way. Oh, this group has their rituals, that church has their rituals, that religion has their rituals, so it's all just kind of show business. Nice show business. Show business that brings about good behavior, good citizenship, good civic values, good human decency. So it's necessary show business. But how could it be that this initiation ceremony brings about more knowledge and makes the Hare Krishna mantra more powerful? It does that because of personalism. By participating in this initiation ceremony, the candidates are pleasing Krishna. And therefore, because they're pleasing Krishna, by connecting to the line of Krishna's devotees, Krishna in their heart makes it more easy for them to understand the knowledge, and Krishna within their heart gives them more access to the Hare Krishna mantra, which is not an ordinary sound, which is not a material sound. So there are two things about the Hare Krishna mantra that are happening simultaneously. Number one, the mantra is what it is. Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta. It is completely full, perfect and complete. It is pure and eternally free from the material energy. But at the time of initiation, you formally receive the Hare Krishna mantra from the spiritual master, and in that way the power of the mantra is enhanced, it's amplified, because it's formally given to you by parampara, the chain of teachers and students. This is personalism. The input of persons makes a difference in our spiritual life. Just like when you get the blessings of the Vaishnavas, the assembled devotees, the community of practitioners. Those blessings mean something. It's not just a formality. Again, this is all about personalism. The more that we get the blessings and benedictions and best wishes of persons who are dedicated to pleasing Krishna, the more Krishna becomes pleased upon us. So to ordinary eyes and ears, this is a great mystery. Someone might wonder, how do you mean to tell me that just by their sitting down in this ceremony, that results in the mantra that they're chanting every day being more powerful? But this is the nature of the spiritual reality. These are the dynamics of the spiritual dimension. These are the dynamics of the spiritual world. Now, nothing is automatic. Just like if you're about to take a plane trip or a bus trip, someone gives you your boarding pass, but you have to hold on to the boarding pass. If you drop it, that's your fault. So at the time of initiation, you get the boarding pass officially put in your hand. Using today's terms, you might have already made your reservation, but still, before you get to the airport, you do online checking. You check in online. So, this initiation ceremony is the check-in process. So you get your boarding pass. You still have to hold on to your boarding pass. You have official clearance now to begin your journey out of the material world back to Krishna. You've got that boarding pass in your hand. But you still have to show up at the gate and get on the plane, all while holding on to your boarding pass. You have to do your part. So initiation is putting the boarding pass in your hand and pointing out, here's the gate. Just like when you check in at the airport. The flight attendant or the check-in attendant tells you, go to gate such and such. Be there before such and such a time. Allow ample time to go through security and then go to gate number such and such. You're getting the instructions. Now, suppose you don't pay attention. You check in, your luggage is taken, you get your boarding pass, and you forgot that she said, be at the gate no later than a half hour from now. You think, oh, I think I'll go shopping. Saw some nice perfume shops over there. I think I'll just walk around the terminal and just see the sights. And you miss your flight. So whose fault is that? You didn't listen attentively. You didn't follow the instructions, although you did get the boarding pass. Just similarly, the initiation ceremony means you're getting your boarding pass and the instructions what to do with the boarding pass. If you follow the instructions, go to the gate, be there on time, get on the plane, you'll arrive at your destination. Now, it could be that the walk from the check-in counter to the gate is full of all kinds of distractions, which is the way, especially international airports are these days. Duty-free shops everywhere. London Heathrow's like that. You got your boarding pass, you finally make it through security, which is a real austerity, long lines for going through security, and then, please, we're gonna look at this bag, take out this, take out that. It's inconvenient sometimes, but still, you have in mind that you want to go to your destination. So you don't let the security check disturb you too much. You tolerate. So then you finally get past security, and you've got to walk to your gate. And in London Heathrow, that means you got to walk through a maze of duty-free shops. They designed it that way on purpose. They don't want you to get to your gate in peace. They want you to see all the liquor, all the perfumes, all the fashions. And they're trying to allure you. Like at Heathrow, you know, the electronics shops will say, we beat any high street prices. Come in, spend your money. And you know, the perfume advertisements are so alluring. No place for a brahmachari. I remember once in Ukraine, in Kyiv airport, as Narendra Maharaj and I were going to Hungary, to New Brajadam, and we had this idea that, why don't we get some perfume for the deities riding Shah? We didn't know anything about perfume. But yeah, it's going to be, we're going for Radhastami. We'll get some perfume for Sri Sri Radha Shah. Yeah, it's duty-free shop. So we walked in, and 60 seconds later we turned around and walked out. Because it was so, it wasn't a place for a sannyasi, but just these big, photo displays of ladies, applying perfume and being pursued by their male counterparts, and the whole scene was just too much. Just couldn't handle it. And we didn't even know anything about perfume, but we had a good intention. Later we found out that you don't offer deities the ordinary perfume because it has, alcohol in it or something? Yeah, we didn't know that. We never bought perfume for anyone in our life. Yeah, we chose the cheap ashram. So that's what airports are like. All kinds of distractions, neon signs, bright lit photographs to attract you. They don't want you to get to the gate peacefully. You got to spend something. And you see, for most people it's like that. They can't make it through. In some airports, like in Australia and New Zealand, you cannot get to the immigration counter when the plane lands. You can't get to the immigration counter, to the passport control, without walking right through the middle of a duty-free shop with alcohol on both sides. So sometimes the path going back to Krishna can seem like that. I'm never going to make it through. But if you hold tight to your boarding pass and you keep your goal firmly in mind, you'll get on the plane. But there are allurements, there are distractions. But if you cultivate transcendental knowledge, you'll be able to understand these distractions and not be fooled by them. So initiation is not some empty mechanical ritual. It's actually impregnating you with divya gyan, divine knowledge. You're getting it through parampara officially. Now, does it mean you had no knowledge before? Our candidates, they have been reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. So, does that mean it was all in vain up until this point? No. It's like, it's possible at some universities that you can attend the classes even though you're not officially enrolled. And you will learn something, but you won't get the actual credit. You'll get the benefit of being there during the classes and you'll pick up knowledge, but for the actual official credit, you won't get that unless you officially enroll. So initiation is the official enrollment in which you are entitled to the full credit if you do your part. You're pleasing Krishna. This is personalism, because Krishna says approach him through parampara, approach him through his devotees. By your doing that, Krishna becomes pleased with you, and therefore you're better able to understand the transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge, by definition, means it's not exactly understood by material intelligence. It's not simply an issue of your memorizing, cramming for some kind of test. No, the bhakti knowledge is assimilated through devotional service. By rendering service to Krishna through parampara, by rendering service to Krishna, by pleasing Krishna's devotees, you receive the ability to understand, to comprehend transcendental knowledge. And then there's the Hare Krishna mantra. We already explained that although that mantra is powerful, perfect, and complete in of itself, when you're taking your vows, when you're undergoing the formal initiation ceremony, that mantra becomes more powerful for you by Krishna's arrangement. So an intelligent person who wants to make spiritual progress takes advantage of all the facilities available. You take advantage properly by submissive reception. Like when you go to a doctor and you know you have a health problem, you don't challenge the doctor. You're desperate for a cure. Relatively speaking, ideally speaking, you wouldn't go to the doctor unless you thought you could be cured. So therefore, when you go to the doctor, you take the medicine as he prescribes because you want to get better. You've talked to other clients, other patients who've been to that doctor, and they tell you, oh, yeah, he can help you. I was very sick and he helped me. So you've done your research, you got your feedback from others. So, therefore, when you go to the doctor, you're ready to accept what he says. So initiation is like that. You're promising that you're going to take the medicine every day. If you do that, you get well. And you can see that you're going to get well because you've already been practicing before initiation. you're already getting a glimpse of what healthy life can be like. And that attracts you. Now, naturally, these candidates for initiation, they are thinking that, well, there'll be some challenges up ahead. The illusory energy is very alluring. That is true. They're being realistic to think like that. It's not that the illusory energy is just going to let you skate back to Godhead. There'll be bumps in the road, and some days the ice you're skating on, so to speak, will seem to have melted. But if you stick to taking your medicine every day, if you strive by right means, if you take those instructions you get at the time of initiation seriously, you'll pass over these obstacles. You see, the nature of the material world is allurement. Just as we were describing, trying to get to your gate at the airport to catch the plane, and you have to go through all these alluring duty-free shops, all pretending to offer you cheap prices. And it's common knowledge amongst heavy travelers that duty-free shops don't give you any break. They're not cheaper. But the average person who goes on 1 or 2 holiday trips a year thinks, duty-free shop, I'll save money. It's rarely like that. It's just that you're being taken advantage of. You're thinking, I'm on my way to my holiday destination. Here are some shops. They must have some bargains, otherwise they wouldn't be here in the first place. I know persons who work in duty-free shops. They told me the whole scam. Similarly, Maya, Krishna's illusory energy, is a scam. It's promising you a bargain. It's promising you this is going to be easier. It's best right now to engage your senses right here and now. Don't worry, you'll get to your gate on time. I've seen people at airports. They become so caught up in the duty-free shop, the bright signs, the perfume displays, and they, oh wait, I'm about to miss my plane. The plane's about to leave. It's a family, man, wife, and kids, and the wife is looking at this perfume, that perfume, and the husband's standing nearby trying to tolerate, and she's going on and on. Finally, oh my God, we're about to miss the plane. And the wife says, well, no, just wait a little longer. We're almost finished. We're almost finished. The plane's about to take off. No, just wait. I just perfume. I've been looking for it for years. So, she tries to finish the transaction. They rush to, collect everything in the bags, and they try to run to the gate. And when they get to the gate, flight attendant tells him, door's already closed, I'm sorry. But wait, okay, please, just make an exception. Nope, sorry. Airlines has a rule. Once the door to the plane's closed, we don't open it again. That's the result of inattentiveness and being distracted. So a bhakti yogi knows how to deal with distraction. We're not living in la-la land like, oh, everything's going to be peachy keen, and we're never going to be allured, we're never going to be tempted. The definition of Maya, the illusory energy of Krishna, means distraction, temptation, allurement. You have to expect that. But the bhakti yogi knows how to deal with it. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna promises, if you follow his instructions, you'll pass over all the obstacles, all the allurements of conditioned life by his grace. Krishna says, by my prasad, my mercy. If you take my mercy, you'll pass over the obstacles. So there will be obstacles. Srila Prabhupada once explained that the nature of this world is such that as soon as you try to do something good, immediately there's an impediment. That's realism. And he explained that most persons will be stymied right there. They'll just give up. What is this? I tried to do something good. My motives were good. And then there was this impediment, that impediment. Oh, it's not fair. Oh, I just give up. That's what most people are like. But someone who is truly determined, they try to do something good, they're stymied, but they keep on going. So Srila Prabhupada explained that if they keep going past the initial impediments, they'll be successful. So he's imparting practical advice about the nature of the material world. There'll always be some impediments as soon as you try to do something that's actually good. But if you stick to it, and indeed initiation is about sticking to it. We're formally receiving the Hare Krishna mantra at the time of initiation. And if we attentively hear the Hare Krishna mantra, all those offenses in chanting Hare Krishna can be avoided just by attentive hearing. This is a lifelong commitment to hear the Hare Krishna mantra with attention. One devotee was telling me that, well, I like kirtan. The japa, yeah, I'm dealing with it. I like kirtan. I won't say who said it. So, but you see, the kirtan is the public expression of the japa. The japa is private, individual kirtan, and the kirtan amongst others, that's public. So that both are two sides of the same coin. Both have to be there. Your individual private kirtan and your public kirtan. So it's not that we're only trying to focus and pay attention when there's the public kirtan. And then when it's time for our individual japa, our individual chanting of Hare Krishna, well, then we can space out because there's no one around. No one's listening, no one's watching. But in kirtan, everyone's there, so then you're very focused. And now, as we become mature devotees, we understand that both the japa, the individual Hare Krishna Mahamantra meditation, and the public congregational meditation, they're both two facets of the same coin. Both are paramountly important. Thinking about this initiation ceremony, I'm realizing that these candidates are getting everything they need. They're having it all put in their lap. The boarding pass is in their hand. So now, the question is, what will they do next? That's up to them. If they strive by right means, if they remain amidst the association of devotees, they can cross through the obstacles of material life very easily. But it's difficult to do that on your own. On your own, you'll easily be picked off by illusion and temptation. Don't even worry about it, it will be guaranteed. But if you strive by right means within the association of devotees, you can pass over the allurements, the obstacles. You can complete the course and attain success. Another statement made by Srila Prabhupada is that anything can be tolerated in good association. Please remember that. Anything can be tolerated in good association. There's no doubt that this material world can deal you some heavy blows. Death of loved ones, even death of one's partner, loss of friends, or friends moving somewhere else, or friends disappointing you, even marriage partners disappointing you. Sometimes devotees, unfortunately, disappoint you because they become lax in their taking the medicine, and in that way they lose their spiritual standing. That's a great disappointment. But if you remain fixed in the association of devotees, you can pass over that. You can tolerate these setbacks. So we're not sentimental. We're not naive. Maybe some of our guests here are thinking, especially when you hear the vows they're going to make. Oh, okay, know this, know that, and know that. Hey, I know her. I know him. We'll see how long it lasts. No, not to thinking like that, you know? I can't blame you for thinking like that. I've often told the story of the first time I heard about these rules. First time I'd ever seen Hare Krishna devotees. I was my last month at Yale University in the USA, and looking for a break from finals and writing final papers, and so my flatmate and I turned on the TV to get some relief, and we saw devotees on television talking about how they lived and what they stood for. And I remember hearing them describe how they got up early in the morning. We said, wow, they get up at the time we go to sleep. And then they explained the 4 rules they followed. And so I turned to my flatmate and said, these people are fools. They have missed the goal of life. And as I often explain, I quickly caught that the devotees kept using this word ananda on television. You know, do this and you get ananda. This process brings about connection with ananda, which they defined as pure bliss beyond material happiness. So they kept using that word over and over again, ananda. So finally, I turned to my flatmate and said, they keep using this word ananda. Well, we'll invite them to one of our parties. We'll show them what ananda is. Of course, how many months later? 8 months later, I was living in the ashram, wearing saffron. So I can understand that our guests, you know, wondering, I don't know. And often people comment, you know, I like the Hare Krishna people, they make great food, it's colorful, yeah, but those rules, I know I couldn't follow those rules. Yeah. And why should you follow those rules? I mean, you know. Knowledge is required to understand why we follow those rules. And you should think that it could be that they have an opportunity to connect with superior pleasure. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe they're not just, you know, artificially repressing themselves and, you know, just restraining themselves until they turn blue in the face. No. I took my initiation. I promise. No. No. Yes, I mean no. It's not like that. The bhakti process offers you a connection with superior pleasure. And so this initiation ceremony means the formal enrollment in the curriculum for superior pleasure. It just takes some time to decontaminate you from your conceptions of inferior pleasure. I often explain there's a famous classical piano school in Vienna, and it charges 2 rates of tuition. One rate is if you've taken piano lessons before, and the other rate is if you've never taken piano lessons before. So the way they do it is that if you have taken piano lessons before, you pay more money because they have to work hard to unlearn you. Whereas if you've never taken piano lessons before, you pay a cheap price, or cheaper price, because they don't have to go through so many misconceptions that you're possessing. Our problems are caused by false conceptions of what is pleasure. So the four rules are protecting you, so that you don't waste your life struggling for indulgences that are easily available in lower species of life. The four rules don't make you transcendental, they make you a human being. And it's the Hare Krishna mantra that takes you beyond the material nature. Following the four rules simply makes you a human being. With knowledge of superior pleasure and the actual processes for connecting to that superior pleasure, how can you lose? So therefore, our daily spiritual life is all about two things: avoiding allurement and temptation from lower things, and increasing our connection to the higher things. That's the bhakti process. For our already established practitioners, initiation ceremonies are a great time to reaffirm yourself, to re-clarify yourself. Maybe you're having some tough obstacles. Maybe, unfortunately, you've been a bit inattentive. But by attending these initiation ceremonies, you can revive yourself and refocus yourself. Everything depends on our attitude. Are we receiving the medicine in a submissive, receptive way? Or are we putting up barriers, putting up resistance, making excuses? Everything depends on our attitude. So these participants in this initiation ceremony, they're declaring that they have the right attitude. And because of that right attitude, they can receive the seed of bhakti, the seed of devotional service to Krishna. All right. Page your bases here. Yes. Your feet. No, Dandavat's feet. That way. Feet. No.
Other way.
Turn around. Not towards the knee. Okay. Say pranam mantra out loud, please. So Gauri began his bhakti career at a young age, 19. Good part of that credit, no doubt, must go to his mother. She's here. Okay. So, I'm sure that you're happy to see how your son is achieving the highest success. I always tell Gauri how I'm envious of him. He started his bhakti when he was 19. I didn't start till I was 22. And since his coming to the Wales Yatra, he has really blossomed under the good guidance of the devotees here, headed by Tarkanath Prabhu. He's really coming into his own. And we're all very thankful for that. He's dedicated himself to outreach with enthusiasm and dedication and determination. And that dedication and determination has done wonders for him. He's showing how to live a selfless life completely in the highest service of others. In this way, he's doing the greatest good for all living entities. What to speak of doing the greatest good for himself. What are the 4 rules?
No meat, fish, or eggs, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit sex.
And what to do every day?
To chant a minimum of 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day.
So your mother gave you the name Gohari at birth? Yeah, well, that's, of course, extraordinarily auspicious name. Still, at initiation, we changed the name. By her giving you that name at birth, you're always hearing the name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya every time someone calls you. And now you're fully in the service of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Gaurahari. So, you've actually fulfilled your mother's calling. Therefore, now your name is Dayalu Gora Das. Just do your dandavats with your feet facing that way. Dayalu Gora means Gora, Lord Chaitanya, who is full of mercy, full of compassion. So you're the servant. Dayalu Gora. Hare Krishna. Who's next? Jamie. Did your obeisances? I first met Jamie in Wellington, New Zealand when she was 19. She had gone down under for her overseas experience. And I remember I was doing a workshop and she walked in. Since that time, she has slowly and steadily developed her spiritual dedication. And in the process of doing so, especially since coming back to the UK, and especially being here in Wales, she has consolidated so nicely and so happy about it. Okay. So I'm very grateful to the devotees here for taking such nice care of her, giving her opportunity to find her feet, her way. Got me her way. You get that from your mother?
What can I say?
So, in the years that I've known her, watching her go through various episodes and phases, she's definitely become very dear to my heart. And I know all the devotees in New Zealand who tried to help her, contribute to her progress. They'll be so happy to know of her taking her spiritual birth. So what are the 4 rules?
No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no intoxication.
And what to do every day?
Chanting a minimum of 16 rounds of the mantra.
All right. It seemed everyone I talked to in Cardiff at the program last night knows you. Yes, you should use your sociability to give everyone the highest benefit. All right, you ready for your new name? Your mother doesn't mind if I change the name?
Not sure I'm quite ready.
Jamie is so, it's kind of run-of-the-mill, isn't it?
My daughter's not run-of-the-mill.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Therefore, we want to give her a name that is scintillating. Try to think of a name that I haven't heard anyone else. Totally unique. Your new name is Jiva Maya Devi Dasi.
Jiva Maya Dasi.
Jiva Maya refers to all the energies of Krishna in relation to the living entities. Krishna has energies that function in the spiritual world, and they have equivalents to handle the living entities in the material world in terms of creation, maintenance, and destruction. This is explained by Jiva Goswami, Bhagavad Sundarbha, for those of you like Gorkashore who like to hear the technical points. So, yes, Jiva Maya, Krishna's energies. So you please function as Krishna's energy, and your life will be successful. Kirsi? Kirsty is the local heroine, the local girl who made good. She was a young lady living the normal young lady's life in Swansea, and then she happened upon this place, and her life suddenly took a turn for beyond the material. And it so happened that not only did she acquire the bhakti process by coming here, but she also acquired a very qualified husband. I don't know how it happened, but
Managing it in heaven.
I asked them when talking to both of them yesterday, look, because I like to hear the history of these things. I said, well, who made the first move? Because usually when I ask that question, the husband always replies that, well, it was me. I made that decision, and I went through the proper procedures to make my proposal to her. And then normally while the husband's saying that, the wife is kind of looking at me like, sure. I think the greatest example of that was, I was asking this of Dharmasetu Karna. And Dharmasetu, you know how he is, he said, well, no, everything was, it was all normal, I became interested in her, While we were packing books in the book room at the Soho Temple, I kind of, checked her out, and while he was saying that, how it was all him, Karna from behind his back was, and then finally, Dharmasetu looked at her and caught her doing that. He was like, you mean it wasn't all me? So, we want to have happy couples in bhakti, and certainly Dandakrit and his wife are a happy, shining couple. It's true that some of us, the ones wearing saffron, have opted for the cheaper ashram. But we wish all happiness and good fortune to those who have taken the more expensive route. And certainly, Kirsty is part of a couple that offers great promise and great peace. And we hope that the two of them will be able to attract others in Swansea to regain their lost consciousness and reclaim their position in devotional service of Krishna's lotus feet. So everyone's very proud of Kirsty for coming in from the storm. And certainly she has all the ingredients for a successful life. And her family and her parents, they can all be proud of her. It's rare that you get a family member who wants to be a saintly person in this day and age. Often parents think that, well, this is a phase that he or she's going through. That's what my parents thought, yeah. But, you know, the phase has been going on for 40 years now. So we all wish, not only upon Kirsty, but all the initiates, spiritual blessings and spiritual dedication. What are the 4 rules?
No gambling, no intoxication, no needed dinner, no illicit sex.
And what to do every day?
Chant minimum 16 hours of Hare Krishna.
Okay, your name. Your name is Braja Baruni Devi Dasi. You know what Braj Baruni is? You see, in the material world, Varuni is the demigoddess in charge of drinking and alcohol in the material world. That's why her name is Braja Baruni. In Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, Varuni is sent by her father Varuna to emanate from a kadamba tree in the Vrindavan forest while Balaram and his consorts there are having a festival. So that Varuni that comes out of a hole in a kadamba tree in Vrindavan is obviously not any material intoxication. Otherwise, why would Balaram and his Nitya Siddha, perfect associates, they wouldn't want to deal with anything material. So Varuni gets a chance to be divine in Krishna's pastimes. So she oozes from a hole in a kadamba tree, and the fragrance of the Varuni, which is kind of like a honey liquor. But remember, this is divine honey liquor. The fragrance makes the whole forest of Vrindavan so wonderful. So Balaram and his associates are smelling that. And then they actually come and drink of Varuni and become transcendently enlivened. And it's at that time when Balaram and his group are all transcendently enlivened that Balaram demands the Jamuna River come to me, because he wants to play in the Jamuna River with his associates. And of course, as you know, the Jamuna River says, no way. You're not in your right state of mind, forget it. So then Balaram drags the Jamuna River, threatens to drag the Jamuna River to his feet, and she then comes submissively. So that is Varuni in Vrindavan. So your name is Braja Varuni. All right.
Okay, so now.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna